Hello, everyone. My name is Francis, and I'm a humanist officiant. I would like to welcome you to Secular Officiant Presents the Marriage License Application on the ServiceOntario website for couples who have divorced and who are bringing documents. This video was created in May 2026. As a disclaimer, it's always recommended that you check the ServiceOntario website for the most up-to-date information, as things may have changed since the creation and posting of this video. The goal for today is to provide a step-by-step guide to completing the marriage license application using the ServiceOntario website so that you feel more comfortable completing the application. This video was created for couples who are at least 18 years old and who have previously married, specifically divorced in Canada or outside of Canada, and who will be bringing their original ID and documents to their license pickup location instead of uploading them online. The agenda for today includes Getting Started, which outlines steps 1 to 3, the ServiceOntario online application, which is separated into 7 steps on the website, but in this video I refer to them as sections. Section 1 is Eligibility, which outlines steps 4 to 7. Section 2 is Marriage Details, which outlines steps 8 to 11. Section 3 is Applicant Information, which outlines steps 12 to 24. In this section, we will assume that this applicant was divorced in Canada. Section 4 is Joint Applicant Information, which outlines steps 25 to 37. In this section, we will assume that this joint applicant was divorced outside of Canada. Section 5 is Required Documents, which outlines steps 38 to 39. Section 6 is Review and Submit, which outlines steps 40 to 43. And Section 7 is Confirmation, which outlines the final steps 44 and 45. Lastly, I'll highlight some next steps once you have completed your online application. This may seem like a lot of steps, but questions in Section 3 for the applicant are repeated in Section 4 for the joint applicant. So, let's begin. Getting started. Step 1 is navigating to the ServiceOntario webpage called Apply for a Marriage License Online. To do this, open up an internet browser such as Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. Then type in ServiceOntario and apply for a marriage license online. The webpage you see should look like the one you see here. Step 2 is clicking on the Before You Start the Online Application link, which is listed as number 4 on the table of contents. Step 3 is clicking on the Start Application button. This is found under the Before You Start the Online Application section. You will see a big blue button. Click on it to access ServiceOntario's online marriage license application. ServiceOntario Online Application. Eligibility. Section 1 of the ServiceOntario application is the Eligibility section. This is the first of 7 sections in the application form. As a reminder, ServiceOntario calls them steps, but to avoid confusion in this video, we will refer to them as sections. Step 4 is answering the question, are you getting married in Ontario? Select yes, as you are applying for an Ontario marriage license. Step 5 is indicating the location you would like to pick up the marriage license. First, click into the search box and type in a city, town, village, township, reserve, or postal code. In this example, I have typed in the city, Vaughan, into the search box. Then click on the blue search button to the right of the search box. Results will appear with the closest locations. Each location listed provides the location's address, phone, email, hours, fee, distance, and notes on payment and pickup instructions. Different locations have different fees for the marriage license. In this example, it costs $205 in Vaughan, but $165 in Caledon. Select the location that you will go in person to pick up your marriage license. As a reminder, you can submit your marriage license application and pick up your license anywhere in Ontario. Do not use the ServiceOntario online application if the closest pickup location is too far for you. You can find your closest municipality and apply through its marriage license application process. For instance, Toronto has its own marriage license online application process. Step 6 is indicating if you require an interpreter when you pick up your marriage license. You or your partner will need to understand, read, and speak in English. If you will need some language assistance, then you will select Yes. When you select Yes, a pop-up will appear stating that you will be responsible for bringing your own interpreter when you pick up the license and that the interpreter will need to bring ID and complete a declaration form. In addition, you will need to contact the municipality before you pick up the license. If you do not need an interpreter, select No. Step 7 is clicking on the Continue button to move to the next section. Marriage Details. Section 2 of the ServiceOntario application is the marriage details. Step 8 is indicating where you plan to get married. Click into the box and start typing in the city, town, village, township, or reserve in Ontario. You will need to select the marriage location from the list of Ontario locations provided in the drop-down menu. In this example, I typed in Vaughan, and the location appeared in the menu. You will then need to click on the location provided in the menu. Step 9 is inputting your intended marriage date. You can click into the box and type the date in the format year/month into numbers /date into numbers. Or you can click on the calendar button to the right of the text box. A calendar will appear and you can select a date on the calendar. If you need to move to a different month, you can click on the left and right arrows in the top right corner of the calendar. In this example, I selected July 31st, 2026. As a reminder, the marriage license is valid for only 90 days, so don't apply for your license too early nor too late from your intended marriage date. Since the marriage license is valid for 90 days, that means that your marriage date can take place anytime within the 90 days that the license is valid. Step 10 is indicating if you or your partner has status under Canada's Indian Act. The majority of people applying will select No. Step 11 is clicking on the Continue button to move to the next section. Applicant Information. Section 3 of the ServiceOntario application is Applicant Information. Step 12 is filling out your name. Type in your first name and middle name. If you don't have a middle name, you can select the square box that says No Middle Name. Then include your last name. If you have a single name, you can keep the previous boxes blank and select the square box indicating that you have a single name. The application will provide a text box for you to type in your single name. This is an example of what the application looks like to fill out a single name. Step 13 is indicating when you were born. The format is year/month into numbers /day into numbers. You can click into the box to type the date or click on the calendar button to the right of the box. The calendar will appear and you can click on the date with the arrow pointing down in the top left corner to select the birth year. Dates appear from 2003 to 2026. If you were born before 2003, use the left arrow located at the top right corner of the calendar. Then click on your birth year. In this example, I selected 2004. The calendar will then change to a list of months. Click on your birth month. In this example, I selected December. The calendar will then change into days of that month in that year. Select your birth date. In this example, I selected December 31st. Step 14 is indicating if you were born in Canada. If you select yes, the application will ask you to select the province or territory in Canada at the time it was called in that year. The website gives an example of Yukon Territory becoming Yukon in 2003. In this example, I selected Ontario. If you were not born in Canada, select No. If No was selected, the application will then ask you to select the country you were born in. You can start typing in the country and then select it from the provided list. The website asks that you indicate the country name at the time, even if it has changed. If you're unable to find your country on the provided list, you can select Not Found. In this example, I selected Albania. Step 15 is indicating if you were previously married or had an annulment. In this example, we will assume that you are previously married, so select Yes. When you select Yes, the application will ask you to select your marital status from the following: divorced in Canada, divorced outside Canada, widowed, annulment in Canada, or annulment outside Canada. For this example, we will select divorced in Canada. We will go through the example of divorced outside Canada in Section 4. You can skip ahead to Step 28 in Section 4 of Joint Applicant Information if applicable. When divorced in Canada is selected, the application will ask for the city of the divorce and the court file number. A reminder will appear indicating that you will need to bring one out of the 3 supporting documents: the final decree, the final judgment, or a certificate of divorce. Step 16 requires you to type in your current address. This includes the street number and name, the apartment number or suite number if applicable, the city, town, or reserve. If you live in Canada, you will include which province or territory you currently live in. The country will automatically indicate Canada when you select a province or territory. If you live outside of Canada, you can leave the province or territory box blank. You will then select the country that you live in. Next, you will input your postal code. If this is a Canadian postal code, the format should be letter, space, number, letter, number. The example given by ServiceOntario is M4B space 1G5. Step 17 is indicating if you have a different permanent address. If you do, select the square box next to Applicant has a different permanent address from above. You will provide your permanent address and include the street number and name, the apartment number or suite number if applicable, the city, town, or reserve. If you live in Canada, you will include which province or territory. The country will automatically add Canada when you select a province or territory. If you live outside of Canada, you can leave the province or territory box blank. You will then select the country that you live in. Lastly, you will input your postal code. Step 18 is typing in your phone number. Include your country, area, or city code and local number. The form allows for brackets, hyphens, spaces, and plus signs. You can also include an extension by typing in EXT period. Step 19 is typing in your email address. Step 20 is indicating your first parent's name. Include their first name and middle name. If they don't have a middle name, select the square box indicating no middle name. Then include their last name. If your parent has a single name, then leave the previous boxes blank and select the square box indicating a single name and type in their single name. Step 21 is indicating if your first parent was born in Canada. Select yes or no. If you select yes, the application will ask you to select a province or territory in Canada. If your first parent was born outside of Canada, select no. If you select no, the application will then ask you to select the country they were born in. You can start typing in the country and then select it from the provided list. The website will ask you to indicate the country name at the time, even if it has changed now. If you're unable to find the country on the provided list, you can select Not Found. Step 22 is inputting your second parent's information. You can select Not Applicable if you have a single parent. If you have a second parent, provide the first name and middle name. If they don't have a middle name, select the square box indicating no middle name. Then include their last name. If your parent has a single name, then leave the previous boxes blank and select the square box for single name and type in their single name. Step 23 is indicating if your second parent was born in Canada. Select yes, no, or unknown. If you select yes, select the province or territory in Canada. If your second parent was not born in Canada, select no. Indicate the country they were born in. If you're unable to find the country on the provided list, select Not Found. For step 24, you can add another parent if you have more than two. You will repeat the same steps of providing their name and birthplace. If you do not have more parents, you can click on the Continue button to move to the next section. Joint Applicant Information. Section 4 of 7 is the Joint Applicant Information. This is where your partner or intended spouse includes their information. It asks the same questions from Section 3. Step 25 is indicating your partner's name. Type in their first name and middle name. If there's no middle name, select the square box next to no middle name. Type in the last name. If your partner has a single name, select the square box for single name and input their single name. Step 26 is indicating your partner's date of birth. Type in the date or use the calendar feature. Step 27 is indicating if your partner was born in Canada. Select yes or no. If yes was selected, indicate the province or territory in Canada. If your partner was not born in Canada, select no. If no was selected, indicate the country. Step 28 is indicating if your partner was previously married or had an annulment. In this example, we will select yes. When yes is selected, the application will ask you to select your marital status. For this example, we will select divorced outside of Canada. When divorced outside of Canada is selected, the application will ask for the country of divorce. Select the name of the country at the time, even if it is no longer used today. If the country is not listed, select Not Found. A reminder will appear indicating that the following supporting document will need to be provided: a foreign divorce or annulment authorization. If you don't have this document, you will need to get authorization from the Office of the Registrar General. Step 29 is inputting your partner's current address. Select the square box if your partner lives at the same address as you. If they live at a different address, include the street number and name, the apartment number or suite number if applicable, the city, town, or reserve. If they live in Canada, include the province or territory. The country will automatically indicate Canada when you select a province or territory. If they live outside of Canada, leave the province or territory box blank and select the country that they live in. Your partner will also include their postal code. Step 30 is indicating if your partner has a different permanent address. If that's the case, select the square box and input their permanent address. Step 31 is inputting your partner's telephone number. Step 32 is inputting your partner's email. Step 33 is indicating the name of your partner's first parent. Include the first name and middle name. If they don't have a middle name, select the square box indicating no middle name. Then include their last name. If the parent has a single name, select the square box indicating single name and input their parent's single name. Step 34 is indicating if the first parent of your partner was born in Canada. Select yes or no. If yes is selected, indicate the province or territory in Canada. If your partner's first parent was not born in Canada, select no. If no was selected, indicate the country. If the country name is not provided, select not found. Step 35 is indicating the name of your partner's second parent. They can select not applicable if they have a single parent. Provide the first name and middle name. If the parent doesn't have a middle name, select the square box indicating no middle name. Then include their last name. If the parent has a single name, then select the square box for single name and enter their single name. Step 36 is indicating if the second parent of your partner was born in Canada. Select yes, no, or unknown. If yes is selected, indicate the province or territory in Canada. If the parent was born outside of Canada, select no. If no is selected, indicate the country. If the country name is not provided, select not found. Step 37 allows your partner to select the Add Another Parent button if there is more than two parents. They would then repeat the steps of including the name and birthplace. If your partner does not have more parents to add, then click on the Continue button to move to the next section. Required documents. Section 5 of 7 is Required Documents. Step 38 is indicating if you and your partner plan to upload your documents online or bring the originals in person. You will see some information on the website indicating the benefits of uploading the documents online. There isn't an option for one applicant to upload and another applicant to bring them in person. For this video, we are selecting the option to bring original documents to the municipal office. A reminder will appear indicating that you will need to bring ID and supporting documents to the municipal office. Below the reminder, there is information about government-issued identification, what types of files are accepted, the language of the documents, and identification with exact names matching. When you scroll further down the page, there is general information on the supporting documents that are needed, because it was indicated that you and your partner were previously married. The application does not specify which divorce documents that each of you will need to bring. As a reminder, if divorced in Canada, you will need to bring one out of the three documents: the final decree, the final judgment, or a certificate of divorce. If divorced outside of Canada, you will need to bring the foreign divorce or annulment authorization. Step 39 is clicking the Continue button to move to the next section. Review and submit. Section 6 of 7 is Review and Submit. Step 40 involves reviewing the application information provided earlier. There are edit buttons to change the application. Both you and your partner need to review the pickup location of your marriage license and if an interpreter is needed. You will also need to review your names, marital statuses, birth dates, ages, birthplaces, addresses, permanent addresses, phone numbers, and emails. You and your partner will also need to review the names and birthplaces of your parents. Please confirm that you have selected to bring your ID in person and check to see if you need to bring supporting documents. In this example, because both of you are divorced, the application indicates that you do need to bring supporting documents and that you have chosen to bring them in person. Step 41 is reviewing the certification statement and privacy statement before selecting both boxes. The gist of the certification statement is that you and your partner were present when completing the application, that everything in the application is true, and that you both are consenting for ServiceOntario to receive the information. Step 42 involves reviewing the privacy statement pop-up and clicking the Agree button. The gist of the privacy statement indicates that you agree to your information being collected, to being collected by whom, and to the different ways the information will be used, such as for issuing your marriage license. Once you click Agree on the privacy statement, a note appears reminding you to ensure that all the application information is correct, as you will not be able to make changes or resubmit. Step 43 is clicking on the Submit button to send your online application to the ServiceOntario location that you selected. Confirmation. Section 7 of 7 is Confirmation. On the confirmation page, you can see that a note indicates that your application has been submitted and that you will receive a confirmation email with your reference number. The reference number also appears on the page. Step 44 involves clicking on the Print button to either print or save a copy of this page for your record. Step 45 involves selecting the Download PDF button to save a copy of the application that was submitted to ServiceOntario for your record. That is the final step in the process for couples who have divorced and are planning to bring their documents with them when picking up the marriage license. Congratulations on completing the ServiceOntario online marriage license application. The following information is some next steps for you and your partner to take once you have submitted the online marriage license application. Arrange for an appointment to pick up your marriage license. At least one of you has to be present to pick up your license. Remember to bring ID and supporting documents for you and your partner. Pay the marriage license fee. Review the marriage license for any errors. Notify the municipal office if there are any errors. Next steps continued. Connect with a registered marriage officiant. Determine the date, time, and venue for your marriage. Choose your 2 witnesses. Connect with a certified interpreter if applicable. Get married before the license expires. And lastly, complete the marriage license. The resources listed provides a link to the ServiceOntario webpage Apply for a Marriage License Online. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video informative, please click the like button and share this with friends and relatives who are planning to get married. You can also subscribe to this channel to receive a notification when new videos are posted. Until then, take care and celebrate life.